Have you ever been involved in a custody battle or other court case and wondered how it would turn out? Stay tuned to learn a 3-card spread to help you determine the outcome. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we're learning how to read tarot 1 card at a time. In today's video, we'll be using an evidence, judge's view, verdict spread to answer the question, what will happen if my child's father takes me to court for full custody? I will be using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, and there is a link below. This question was posted anonymously online and says, quote, my son's dad is threatening to take me to court for full custody of our son, who is 8 years old, because he doesn't want to pay child support anymore. I have always had full custody. If he takes me to court, what will happen? Unquote. For simplicity's sake, I will call the child's mother Rachel and the child's father Anthony. Rachel didn't say that she used a spread. However, I will be using the 3-card evidence, judge's view, verdict spread. Card number 1, evidence, is about the strength of the evidence. Rachel drew the Queen of Cups. Card number 2, judge's view, indicates how the judge will view the case. Rachel drew the King of Cups. Card number 3, verdict, shows the ruling or outcome of the case. Rachel drew the 5 of Wands. Let's begin by talking about my first impressions. It's interesting that we have the King and Queen of Cups. Cups is about love, and they are the mother and father figures of the suit. So these 2 cards remind me of a couple who was in love at some point. However, we look at them now and see that they are facing in opposite directions. They are also both on choppy waters, so I assume that emotions are high. In the verdict position, we see people fighting. It looks like the battle for custody will not be easy. We see clear blue skies in all 3 cards. And that's it with my first impressions. Let's look at each card individually. Card number 1, evidence, is about the strength of the evidence. Rachel drew the Queen of Cups. Since Rachel says that she has always had custody, the judge would be looking at her fitness as a mother. This card is good news for Rachel. Queens are the mothers of the court cards and seen as very nurturing. Cups are about emotions. The Queen of Cups is generally seen as a very positive card and represents someone who is empathic, loving, and very concerned with the child's emotional well-being. This is the court card that I identify most strongly with, so it's hard to think of the downsides, which I'm sure will be raised in the custody hearing. I'm not saying that these apply to Rachel, but she might be accused of being too overprotective and not letting her son have enough freedom to grow up. However, the son is only 8 years old, so unless she wraps him in bubble wrap when he leaves the house, I doubt that would be true. I also think there's often a discrepancy between what a mother considers to be overprotective and what a father considers it to be. At least that was the case in my marriage. Another issue is that Rachel might be over-involved in her son's life to the detriment of her own physical or mental health, although I doubt a judge would see that as a negative. Finally, the Queen of Cups can be very focused on her internal world to the point that she ignores the practical aspects of raising a child, such as doing laundry, making meals, or driving him to school. I think that if Rachel has managed sole custody for 8 years and there aren't CPS reports in the court documents, she has been a fit and probably excellent mother. If these negatives were the case, however, I think we would have seen different cards such as the Devil or the 5 of Pentacles. I think we can confidently assume that Rachel is an excellent mother. Card number 2, Judge's View, indicates how the judge will view the case. Rachel drew the King of Cups. In this case, the King of Cups represents the judge. Kings were responsible for running the kingdom, so they've seen and heard it all. The King of Cups is considered to be wise, mature, compassionate, and intelligent. He would make an excellent judge and make a fair and balanced decision in this case. Because he belongs to the suit of cups, he would focus on making a decision in the son's best interest, specifically in the area of his emotional needs. This is good news because other king/judges might see it differently. The King of Pentacles, for instance, might rule for the parent who had the most money, or the King of Swords might rule for the parent who was the most intellectual or had the most education. I think the judge would give great weight to the fact that Rachel has been the sole caregiver since her son was born. He would look at the evidence that she is one of the best mothers in the deck. She likely has glowing references to back up her claims. I also think that the judge would look at the situation that Rachel has always had full custody, and, coincidentally, Anthony only filed for custody because he doesn't want to pay child support anymore. I can't imagine an emotionally intelligent judge ripping the son away from his mother if there wasn't a good reason. However, because the judge is balanced and fair, I think that Anthony will be able to maintain his visitation rights. You've made it this far in the video, and I wanted to stop and ask for a favor if you're not already a subscriber, and that is to please hit the subscribe button. It's free for you, and it will also help me grow this channel. Plus, it means that you won't miss anything. Thanks so much, and if you're already a subscriber, I truly appreciate your ongoing support. Now let's get back to the video. Card number 3, verdict, shows the ruling or outcome of the case. Rachel drew the 5 of Wands. I think that the judge ruled that Rachel could retain full custody. The 5 of Wands can mean two things. It could mean that the judge had to work hard to come up with his ruling, so perhaps there was a lot of conflicting evidence that he had to consider. Given that we have the Queen of Cups in the evidence position and not, as I mentioned earlier, the Devil or the 5 of Pentacles, I don't think this is the right meaning. I believe what happened is there was a lot of conflict surrounding the verdict. We see 5 people fighting. This makes me wonder if there are more people involved in this custody battle than just Rachel and Anthony. Perhaps Anthony has a new wife or girlfriend, and maybe they're expecting a baby or there are stepchildren involved. And the new woman in Anthony's life is pressuring him to stop paying child support because they need the money to start their new life. Or maybe they want to move out of the area to be near her family, or because he's getting a new job and it can't happen with the current custody arrangements. Another scenario is that Anthony's parents are involved and pressuring him to get full custody. Or maybe there are other parties involved, such as aunts or uncles. Just to make up an example, perhaps the son has the potential to be a gifted soccer player, and coaches are pressuring Anthony to get custody because they don't think Rachel is taking the sport as seriously as she should. Or that Anthony's family is Christian and don't like the fact that Rachel, who is Jewish, does not celebrate Christmas. Finally, it could be just a legal strategy. The plan might be for Anthony to appeal the decision and bankrupt Rachel with expensive appeals and more legal bills. Whatever the issue, it will be a fight. To summarize, let's go back to Rachel's question. If Anthony takes me to court, what will happen? Rachel did not ask if she would ultimately win the case, which is why we have to be so careful when framing our questions. The answer to Rachel's question is that she will be found to be a very good mother and that the judge will rule in her favor. Unfortunately, that will not be the end of the story because there will be a lot of fighting after the decision and it will likely be appealed. Rather than ending the video here, I decided to take it a step further and see if I could predict the final outcome of the custody battle from the cards that Rachel pulled. And I think that the judge's verdict will hold for a few reasons. First of all, the King of Cups is facing in the direction of the 5 of Wands, although they wound up being a bit behind him. That tells me that the judge anticipated this kind of fight after the verdict and that it will hold up in court. The other thing I looked at were the 5 young men who were fighting. First of all, they are young and inexperienced compared to the king/judge. They are also very disorganized. So the idea is that they will keep using their wands to try and poke holes in everything they can, but those holes have already been addressed in the ruling. It's not really a serious appeal, they're just being a nuisance. The third thing is that we can see blue skies throughout all 3 cards. This makes me think that, in the end, it will be a positive outcome for Rachel. I hope that this video gave you some ideas that you can apply to your tarot practice. Please leave a comment if you'd like to share what you've learned. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.